Welcome back to the Fearless Females Voice podcast, where women's stories and experiences are shared to empower and inspire others. On this episode, I'm going solo and talking about my career experiences, some of the myths which I had heard about and I actually squashed through some of the actions I took, and some of the things which actually held me back, along with the reality of what it's like working as a female in a full-time job or business. So as you may know, I quit my job in February 2021. So it's been just over a year and I haven't looked back since. And for those of you who don't know the full story, I'm going to give you a little bit of a snippet now just to put things into context. So I was working as an engineer for over 8 years and I was pretty much determined to work my way up. There were challenges in my role, as with every single workplace, around the people, the workload, the work-life balance. But overall, I really enjoyed what I did, and my teammates were incredible. So it was a job that helped me grow as a person because I learned a lot about myself throughout those 8 years, and I gained so many new skills from being in the engineering industry, and not just engineering skills, but people skills. So overall, it was a very positive experience, I'd say. When I first started working as an engineer straight out of university, it was quite challenging. I was a fresh graduate, didn't really know what I was doing, and I was surrounded by men. It was a heavily male-dominated environment, and I'd never really been exposed to that before. And on top of that, I was working in a new city where I knew no one. And the people in that city weren't really exposed to many people of color. So it was a whole new experience for me in general. But I loved the work that I was doing. There were some setbacks from certain team members, and there was a bit of discrimination at times, but I didn't really know much about that back then, and I didn't really know how to flag it or how to educate someone much older than me, who's also a man, basically, in that area. So instead of letting it impact me, I pretty much gave it back, and I thought to myself from that first year within industry, within working in a new role, that I'm going to need to do something different because I am a bit different. People won't be used to me in this industry with my personality, with maybe the way I look, with the way I handle things, everything. So that was me taking the stance of I'm going to push through. I was determined to make my career work, and I had internal big dreams for myself. So I followed those dreams. I worked my way up. I got promotions. I then moved to London to work for a new company. When I started there working in London, I realized quite quickly that the work wasn't really exciting anymore. I wasn't really moved by what I was doing. I felt quite disengaged, and I didn't really feel like I was progressing, even though I was getting incredible feedback and on my development, and I was also getting promotions. But deep down, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't fulfilled, and I had this feeling of there being more. There was more to life, more that I was capable of doing, and more that I wanted to do. I just didn't know what that was. And I'd always had people around me telling me, oh, you're really good at that. Or why don't you do more of that? And this is how you make me feel. But I didn't really do much with it. And I then started to do the internal work to understand my own strengths and what I'm actually passionate about and whether it aligns to what I'm actually doing. And I remember being in that role. And when I did my career development planning with my senior managers, I was thinking, they always ask, what do you want to do in the next 5 years? What do you want to do in the next 10 years? And I remember looking around and thinking, there is nothing here that I want to do. There is not a role in this company that I want in the future. I didn't see myself caught up in all the politics and working crazy hours just to earn more money and not really have that much impact on anything else. So I was pretty much stuck in that job for 3 years, the one in London. And the only thing that kept me there was the status, I'd say, and the financial security. I remember introducing myself to people, and the first thing they say is, "Hey, what do you do?" Just as somebody would ask, "What do you do?" And I'd say, "Oh, well, I'm an engineer." And they'd say, "Wow, an engineer, and you're female. Oh, that sounds really smart." And I used to hold on to that status subconsciously. It made me feel like, oh yeah, I am an engineer. And that was the title. And I was holding on to that title. But it was also something that I'd worked so hard to achieve. And my career meant a lot to me. My parents didn't have the education that I had as they'd moved from Africa, and the opportunity of, wow, me having this big career was presented to me. And I worked so hard for it. And I was like, right, this is it. I'm going to take it because it's something that my parents didn't really have and I can have. So why not? But in building my career, it meant sacrificing my well being, my purpose, my passions, the things which truly ignite me from the inside. This was the first time that I explored quitting my job. It was something that my brother had told me to do probably for 2 to 3 years before I did it. And my now husband, Akash, also encouraged it. He saw so much more potential in me. He saw so much more than I did. And sometimes when you're so in it, you don't see it. You need someone from the outside saying, hey, this is all the greatness that could come, but right now you're stuck here. I was so afraid to quit my job as I'd worked so hard, and I was really grateful for what I had. We were in the middle of the pandemic, and I was thinking, oh my God, am I ever going to get another job? Don't really know what I'm going to do next. I was earning great money. I had all the holidays to take. I had an incredible work-life balance and amazing perks for working at the company. It was a dream, but it wasn't my dream. It wasn't enough for me. And that's when I first realized that you don't need to hate your job to quit your job. That was a huge myth that I thought. I've always heard of people leaving their roles because they hated their manager or the work that they were doing or the company. I wasn't in any of those positions. I thought, okay, the work's good. The people were amazing. And the company was doing great things. But internally, it wasn't aligned to my future vision and what I truly wanted to do, even though I didn't know what that was at the time. I just knew there was more. So I started preparing my exit plan. I needed to be financially stable, which is the first thing that I worked on. I've been financially independent since I was probably 15 or so. I've always had jobs to help fund my lifestyle, and I didn't want to start relying on anyone else at that stage. So I saved and did some calculations on my finances, and it turned out that I could quit my job and not really have a plan and figure things out. I had the gift of time and space. I snatched up this opportunity and I left. I quit my job to fulfill my purpose, which I didn't even know what it was at the time. I had no clue what I was going to do next. And entering that unknown territory felt quite exciting, but scary as well at the same time. So fast forward a few months of me being unemployed, and it came to me. I decided to start my own business, Fearless Females, which I'm working on now. And this combined my passion for supporting women and helping them overcome barriers to thrive in their life. I found this was a huge passion for me, to be some form of leader in the female society and show that it's not just what we see in today's media. We can be so much more. There is so much more. Anyway, when I started, I had things around, wow, you're doing something you love. It must be amazing. And business is the way forward. You can make so much money from it. I never once thought about the money aspect because I was earning a lot less than my day job that I had before. And that's very normal. I was fortunate enough and very grateful to the first few paid clients that I had. And I knew from there that that was the start of something big for me. And by big, I mean a movement of women empowerment. I was reaching more and more women, whether through free content or services or my paid services. So in comes the next myth I had heard and I also squashed. Business is hard. There are more and more women starting their own businesses, and I loved that this is happening, but I don't always appreciate the behind the scenes dreams that they're being sold. Business isn't a get rich quick scheme. There's so much more to it, and it's normal not to get clients straight away. It's normal not to earn the same salary you were on. I had quiet months where I had no clients sign up. I had inconsistent months, and this impacted my income. The reality is, this is normal, but we aren't always exposed to it. We don't see the behind the scenes, and people only share what they want to share, what they want you to see. This is their success. We see the glamorized lives, the 5K or the 10K months, and all the material stuff which is being bought. That's not quite what I'm about, but also don't be fooled by this. Running your own business is challenging. There will be times when you want to quit. There will be times when you're feeling so low. There will be times when you're off track, when you're not making sales, when you're struggling with engagement on social media and everything else that can go wrong. This isn't normalized enough, in my opinion. Women are out there grinding, which is great, but we need to know that it is a grind and accept that it's not easy work, but it's doable if you want it to happen. I always go back to my why I'm doing this. What joy I get from supporting other women. And that keeps my head in the right place. So if you're struggling with business, then think back to why you started and make sure it's a strong enough reason. So that's the next myth. And the final one is people telling me how lucky I am that I get to work flexible hours. I see so many business owners saying they're working 3 to 4 hours a day. I think it's amazing that you're working 3 to 4 hours a day or even less, and you're still earning a living. It's amazing. And I love seeing that. And it's great to see what is possible. But the reality is, when you start a business, it's not quite like that. I still work on the weekends and evenings and whenever I can, really, because firstly, there's a lot that I can do. There's a lot to get done. And secondly, I enjoy it. So I'm okay with that. There is always more that you can do within your business. And this is something that I had to accept and learn the hard way through being overwhelmed. I now manage this better and manage my time, but it doesn't mean that I get off days. And what I mean by that is, even if I'm not working, I may still be thinking about my clients or my social media, or, oh, did I send that email or get back to the inquiry? When you first start, you are the head of everything: marketing, admin, payments, social media, sales, research, and the list goes on. For those who are working less hours, they're the ones who have already experienced the grind and are a bit further on in their business. So they're able to do those things. They've either been there and done it, or they're actually working to their lifestyles. What I mean by this is they may not be doing it full time, or they may not be wanting a certain income figure. They may not be aiming for the, 6-figure business or the 5K months or whatever it is. They may be comfortable earning what they're earning in the time that they give. And that's fine. That works for them. And it's amazing to see that that's been identified, because that's something that I've struggled with as well, in terms of my expectations of what I want from this business. So I recorded this episode to shed some light on some of these myths, which I believed at the time and was exposed to. I feel decisions around your career shouldn't be taken lightly, and have a plan of action if you're going to leave your job. Think about what's next. Why are you leaving? What are you good at? Is business really for you? Because it's not for everyone. The one thing I'd say I dislike most about my business is the fact that I have to use social media much more than I'm used to. In order to maintain what I'm doing, I'm sharing my life and using social media way more than I used to. And this is something that I've just learned to accept. And I'm quite happy to do so because my content has helped many women. And I want to keep it that way and share everything, the ups, the downs, and normalize things, raise awareness to certain things like this that I've spoken about today. I don't want us women to feel singled out, that success is defined in a certain way. I want you to build your own future through your own path of whatever makes you happy. At the end of the day, it's your life and you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you're happy doing so. That's all for now for this episode, and I hope you've enjoyed the listen. It was a little different than normal, but a topic that's been on my mind. If you've enjoyed the listen, be sure to leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.